Hello, greetings to one and all. So, today we are going to be looking at the subject penology and victimology. So, the Unit 1 of penology and victimology covers introduction to penology, notion of punishment in law, crime prevention and crime control, the 5 theories of punishment. So, in this class, today we'll be looking at introduction to penology and what is punishment. Introduction to penology. The term penology was coined by Francis Liber in the year 1834. So the term penology was for the first time coined by Francis Liber in the year 1834. Penology is derived from the German word peno, which means punishment, and logos or logi, which means study. Hence, penology is the study of punishment. He described penology as a branch of criminal science occupying with the punishment of criminals. So, according to Francis Liber, penology is a branch of criminal science which occupies with the punishment of the criminals. According to P.K. Sen, it lays down fundamental principles of punishment for the guidance of the sovereign authority in making the punishment scheme. So, according to P.K. Sen, penology lays down fundamental principles of punishment which acts as a guidance to the sovereign authority in making the punishment schemes. The subject criminology cannot be complete without penology. So, the subject criminology cannot exist independently without penology. Criminology deals with crime and criminals, whereas penology deals with penal or punitive aspect, which is punishment. Hence, penology and criminology have to go hand in hand. Whenever a crime occurs, there should be a corresponding punishment for it. So, when there is a crime, there should always be a corresponding punishment for the crime. Hence, criminology cannot exist independently without penology. So, also in India, every crime is all against the state and not against any particular individual. So remember one thing, that crime is always against the state and not any particular individual or the victim. It is against the society in itself or society as a whole. The beginning of penology can be traced much before the term was coined by the German American philosopher. So here Francis Liber is the German American philosopher, and it did not mark the beginning of penology, but the beginning of penology can be marked by Cesare Beccaria's essay on crimes and punishments in the year 1764. So the next point is that it was in the year 1764 Cesare Beccaria's essay on crimes and punishment marks the beginning of penology, rather the classical school of penology. Why is it put here as rather the classical school of penology? Is because Cesare Beccaria is the father of the classical school of penology. The principles of penology were first enunciated in the US in the Declaration of Principles 1870. So the US was the first nation in the world to adopt the principles of penology in their Declaration Principles in the year 1870 by the National Prison Administration. The National Prison Administration is now renamed as the Annual Congress of Correction in the year 1941 onwards. So the salient features of penology as given by D.R. Taft. So the salient features of penology here is enunciated as given by D.R. Taft. Penology is a technique of punishment and reform of criminals. So first and the foremost salient feature is that penology, rather a study, is a technique of punishment which tends to reform the criminals. Penology is a function of criminology to formulate constructive techniques to keep and maintain social peace and security. So penology's main feature is that it is a function of criminology which formulates constructive techniques which maintains the social peace and security of the society. It helps in establishing and managing the institution of reforms, probation, and correction, besides bringing about social harmony and peace. So, besides bringing about social harmony and peace, penology helps in establishing and also managing the institutions of reforms, the correctional homes, the probation, etc. So, correctional homes can be our jails, prisons, and also the juvenile homes where the juveniles are kept. So, I hope all of you know who the juveniles are. So, it formulates and applies certain principles necessary to reform the society in general and criminals in particular. So, penology formulates and applies principles which are necessary for the reformation of the society in general and the criminals in particular. Aim and objects of penology. So, penology aims, the main object or aim of penology is the scientific study of infliction of appropriate sentence on conviction of an offender and execution thereof in the form prescribed by law. So, penology is the scientific study which inflicts appropriate sentence on the person who is convicted or the offender and executes him in the form that has been prescribed by the law or that which has been laid out in our statutes. It is concerned with various aspects of punishment and penal policies. So, penology is concerned with various aspects of punishment and also the penal policies to protect the society against the criminals. So, penology aims to protect the society against the criminals and the crime. It administers penal measures. So, the object of penology is that it helps or aids in the administration of penal measures to inflict appropriate punishment on the offender or convict. So, the aim of penology is that it sees to that a person who is an offender or a convict has been inflicted with appropriate punishment in accordance to the law that is in existence or the statute which prescribes for that appropriate punishment. There are 4 approaches to penology, and here let's see what these 4 approaches are. First, administrative approach. So, according to penology, according to the approach of penology, it has administrative approach, which means it is related to jail administration and police activities, implementation of governmental penal policies and institutional treatment of offenders. So, the administrative approach of penology deals with jail administration, the police activities, and with the implementation of governmental penal policies and the institutional treatment of offenders. So, the next is scientific approach of penology. The scientific approach of penology is related with the problems arising in the treatment of offenders. We all know that the offenders have to be treated and have to be approached in the scientific way, and here penology resolves by doing the same. So, here the offenders are given psychological treatments. So, again this psychological treatment is a scientific approach. So, it relates to the principles concerned to personality of the offenders and behavior of persons. Analytical approach. It studies the penal measures and offers solutions for efficient administration of penal justice. So, what the analytical approach does is that it analyzes, it studies the penal measures and offers an effective solution for the administration of penal justice. The last but not the least is the academic approach. Under academic approach, it is generally concerned with the theoretical knowledge of punishment and treatment of offenders. Here, the teachers and the researchers are the main areas that are covered under this approach. Punishment. Now, let's welcome the new topic under penology, that is punishment. So, we all know that we have learnt now that penology is the study of punishment, punitive measures, and also the treatment of offenders. So, now let's see what is punishment. So, punishment is not defined in IPC. So, IPC, that is Indian Penal Code, has not given a clear cut definition of what punishment is. So, the next resort which we tend to look at for the definition is the Oxford Dictionary. So, according to Oxford Dictionary, punishment means to make an offender suffer for an offense. So, punishment means the offender has made to suffer for the offense that he has committed. According to D.R. Taft, conscious infliction upon a disturbing individual in the interest of his welfare. So, according to D.R. Taft, punishment is conscious infliction upon a disturbing individual in the interest of his welfare. So, D.R. Taft says that punishment should be conscious infliction upon a person or a disturbing individual in the interest of his own welfare and also the society. W.C. Reckless. So, according to W.C. Reckless, it is a means of social control. According to Reckless, punishment is a means of social control. Sutherland. So, according to Sutherland, it involves pain or suffering produced by design and justified by some value. So, Sutherland believes that punishment has to involve pain and suffering, which has to be produced by design and have to be justified by some value. So, any punishment that has been given to any offender, it should be justified. It should have a reason as to why that offender has been given punishment or why that offender deserves punishment. Andrew Flew in the year 1954 gave 5 rules of punishment or penal sanction. He said there are 5 rules that the penal sanction must have. First, it has to create human suffering. So, Andrew Flew said that punishment or penal sanction has to create human suffering. Here, the human beings have to be, we have to make other human beings, that is the offenders, suffer. So, it has to create human suffering. The second one, arise as a direct result of the perpetration of an offense. So, the punishment or the penal sanction must arise as a direct result of the perpetration of the offense. So, it should be the direct result for the offense that has been committed by the offender. Third, only be directed at the person who undertook the offense, that is the offender. It should be directed only at the person who has committed such an offense. So, punishment or the penal sanction must be aimed and directed only at the offender. So, the penal sanction, fourth, so the penal sanction must be intentional creation of other humans' response to that offense. So, it should be intentional and creation of other humans' response to that offense. So, it should be like a response from the humans, that is from the society, to the offender. Fifth, the penal sanction must be inflicted by an authorized body representing the embodiment of rules or laws of the society in which the offense was committed. So, the fifth point states that it should be inflicted by an authorized body which represents the embodiment of rules or laws of the society where the offense has taken place. The simple meaning of punishment is the infliction of some kind of pain or loss upon a person for a misdeed. So, for any misdeed, a person has to be inflicted with some kind of pain or loss. Why is it pain or loss? Pain we all know because it is punitive in nature, hence pain. But why is it loss? It is loss because sometimes punishment can also be that of paying of fines, which is nothing but penalties. H.L.A. Hart, in his pioneering work, Punishment and Responsibility, Essays in Philosophy of Law, in the year 1968, provides that punishment should pass according to these 5 tests. So, the first test which the punishment should pass is that it must involve pain or other consequences normally considered unpleasant. So, punishment should involve pain or any other consequence which is considered unpleasant by the human beings. So, the second point is it must be for an offense against legal rules. So, it must be for an offense or violation against legal rules. So, punishment should be given for anything that is considered offense or something like a violation which is done against the legal rules. It must be to an actual or supposed offender for his offense. So, it must be to an actual or supposed offenders for his offense. So, punishment must be administered to a person who has committed the offense. So, it is the offender. Fourth, it must be intentional, administered by human beings other than the offender. So, punishment should be intentional, which should be administered by human beings only other than the offender. So, it must be administered to the offender intentionally by others other than the offender himself. So, fifth point is that it must be imposed and administered by an authority constituted by a legal system against which the offense is committed. So, the punishment must be imposed and administered by the authority which has been constituted by the legal system of the particular society wherein the offense has been committed. So, whenever or wherever the offense is committed, the punishment should be imposed and administered in the same society or the same legal system by an authority that has been constituted by the legal system itself. Thank you and see you in the next class. So if you like this video, please like and share and comment.